Welcome back to the We Can Do It Women show, where I'm your host, Debra Morrison, and interviewing today one amazing We Can Do It woman, Mugs Haugen. Mugs, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Debra. It is an honor to be with you today. Thank you so much.
Completely. So, give our viewers an idea of where you came from and your story.
Wow. Well, let's see. I'm from a very large Irish Catholic family. I'm one of 9 children.
Nine.
And I'm actually a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for over 25 years. And my favorite aunt was a nurse, so I think I followed in her footprint. And I also was a caregiver from very early on in my childhood.
Wow.
So my grandmother lived with us, and I helped with her and her sister, who also lived with us for a short time, and her name was Aunt Nina, and I used to take care of her when I was very, very young.
Like how young?
I'm going to say like 9, 10.
Oh, that's young to be caregiving.
Yes. And then my father passed away from lung cancer. And so I was also at home. I was the only single daughter at that time. I was about 22 when he was ill. And so I kind of became, I went and helped my mother and lived at home with them while he was going through his cancer treatment. So I think I have a long history of being a caregiver. And then finally, I was a late bloomer. I went to nursing school after having 2 children.
Good.
So I had my 2 kids, and I went back to nursing school. And I knew it was something in my heart that I always wanted to do, but life gets a little lifey sometimes. So I, did the whole, childbirthing thing and all of that. And when my youngest son started kindergarten, I told my husband, I need to go back to school. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to get it done. So he was extremely supportive and supported me through my nursing education. So anyway, so I became a nurse, and it's been a fabulous, fabulous career. It's allowed me to do a lot of things, and I have a lot of compassion for those people who are suffering. And so I just feel like it's a gift that I can give to the world.
Such a rich gift. I mean, when people are ill and dying, especially, there is absolutely no replacement for an empathic being, a nurse, a caregiver, and you've done that with aplomb. Tell us more about how you progressed in your nursing career, and then some of the twists and turns that happened, some of them not so pleasant.
Yeah. Well, I worked in the cardiac unit for many years, and I really enjoyed that. I became very close to a lot of my patients. It was really a fun experience. And then I moved into the emergency department. Whew. And that's where it got a little bit difficult. After 11 years in the emergency department, I was just becoming extremely overwhelmed, stressed, and burnt out myself. I think the challenge of the job became a little bit overwhelming for me, and it started to take a toll in other areas of my life. So physically, I was not in the best health. I kind of let myself go. I put on a lot of weight, just was not in a real happy space. So then my oldest sister, like I said, I'm one of 9. My oldest sister, Kathy, she got diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And so I took a medical family leave to help care for her and her family during her transition. So once again, caregiving. And as the nurse in the family, it's kind of like they come to you with a lot of questions and, a lot of support and that kind of thing. But it was an honor to be able to serve my family in that way too.
How old was Kathy when she was diagnosed?
Well, she was 67 when she passed away. So yeah. And she had been in recovery. We thought she had come through it. She'd been 7 years, cancer free after her mastectomy, and the cancer came roaring back. And that was a very difficult time for all of my family, all my siblings. Like I said, Kathy being the oldest, after my mom had passed away, she became the anchor of my family. She was the matriarch, right? And so like I said, it was, when you're in that suffering with someone that you love, it's a very difficult time. But now in retrospect, I look at that time as the greatest gift I've ever been given. to be with her and to help her through that time and to help her family also, really.
But you and Kathy were like
Oh,
best friends, right?
yes, we were.
That had to have been ultra painful.
Yeah. We were. We were not only sisters, we were like best friends. We literally lived a block apart.
Oh my gosh.
And we would share dinners together. We would walk on the beach and tell each other stories. And we'd also travel with all my other amazing sisters. I have 5 sisters, 3 brothers. But the sisters, we all travel almost every year. We go on a girls trip, right? So yes, Kathy was definitely more than just a sister. She was like my best friend.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was an extremely big loss. And I think too, it's like losing a sibling or one of your peers is a lot different than losing a grandparent or a parent and that kind of thing. Now, I've never lost a child and I know how devastating that is. But for me, that was probably my most significant loss at that time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even imagine how comforted Kathy was, because you're losing your capability and your health, and to have that constant empathy and to look across and see you loving her. I'm just, there's not a bone in my body that doesn't think you made her transition so much more blessed. So much more blessed.
Yes.
And I honor you. And I know she honors you. She's looking down, right?
Oh, for sure.
So she was the anchor.
Yes.
And then you said, wow, I could help her. I've helped my whole family. I helped my family when I was smaller, and now I'm, more advanced in age. And how then did you blossom out and use this anchor theme?
Well, like I said, I was getting very burnt out in the emergency department. And then going through that experience with Kathy, I think it made me take a look at my own mortality. It's
right
like,
now.
Okay, we only have so much time on the planet. So how do I want to live the rest of my years that I have left? And it was kind of a seminal moment for me, because I just felt like I needed to get my stuff together. It's like I need to start taking care of myself.
Oh, yes.
And so then that kind of became my focus. It's like, okay, I'm going to make some changes in my life. And I've done that. And for me, it started pretty much with my physical transformation. I ended up losing about 60 pounds. 60 pounds in 8 months.
Oh, my goodness. That's an accomplishment right there.
Yeah. But the miracle of that story, Debra, is that I have now maintained that weight loss for over 7 years. And I had a...
Mugs.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. So that's incredible, because I was a yo-yo dieter. I mean, I was heavy this season and, thin this season, and I would go back and forth for decades and decades. So, so I'm very proud of where I'm at. And so that led me, the personal transformation has given me the confidence to help others and to become a life coach and to help other nurses and other caregivers to basically learn to put their own health and well-being at the forefront instead of always caring for others first.
With this ability to role model is amazing. We're just going to put it on ice for one station break, and we're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Let me introduce you to Debra Morrison. If you're a woman who thinks her best years are behind her, we're here to tell you your best chapter is just beginning. Join the We Can Do It Women Facebook group. It's more than a community, it's a revolution. Reclaim your dreams, master your finances, and unleash your potential. We're just getting started. Join now, and let's make the rest of our lives the best of our lives. We can do it, women. Join us today.
Hi, welcome back to We Can Do It Women, and we're continuing the conversation with Mugs Haugen, and she is all about empowering women through her coaching practice now, which is called again
Anchored Heart Coaching.
Anchored Heart Coaching.
After, in memory of my sister, my anchor Kathy. So Anchored Heart Coaching, that's how that came about.
That's so rich. So tell us how you coach your clients through whatever they're going through, and I think also probably preparing them in the case they end up with unexpected events, as you did with your sisters diagnosis and death.
Right. Well, I honestly, I take a very holistic approach to my coaching. I think mind, body, spirit is really important to me, and I have an anchor framework that I use, and so A is for awareness, and so I really start with that because I think we need to be really aware of where we are now
Oh,
and where we would love to be in our future, and what kind of changes we want to see in our lives. So we start with the awareness, and then I do the nourishment of mind, body, and spirit. And it's not just about weight loss. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a I'm not a health coach.
okay.
But I like to make sure that we incorporate, our mind, body, and spirit in our transformation, right? So that's really important to me. And then part of my anchor framework is compassion, and that compassion not only for others, but that self-compassion, right?
Right now,
Yes.
Mugs, this self-compassion, this starting at home
Yes.
is so rich. We fill ourselves up. That's the notion. That's our mantra, fill yourself up. But go ahead. Compassion
Yes.
is so key.
Yes, and then my acronym, my anchor acronym. So my H is for happiness, and because that's so important, and to create our own happiness, and I believe that we are responsible for our own happiness. And then my O is for opened heart, which is all about giving and receiving and having that gratitude, and that full circle of the giving and receiving is so important. And then my R is for responsibility.
Oh, yes.
So taking responsibility for all your, everything in your life is so important. And I know you talk about that with your money, right? So I love that about you too. So thank you for that. You've taught
Yes.
me about taking responsibility for my money. So
Oh, you've done marvelously.
appreciate that.
So then maybe that's a way you really identify as a we can do it woman. You're just branching out into all areas. And this acronym, I love it.
Thank
Tell
you.
our viewers again the acronym.
Well, it's for my anchor.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So A for awareness, N for nourishment. My C is for compassion, H for happiness, O for opened heart, and R for responsibility.
I couldn't be more in agreement. I commend you. What a
Thank
great
you.
acronym. And the principles on which your coaching practices are based are so raw, Mugs. They're so real. And I would so much prefer to deal with a person and be coached and mentored by a person who's been along a journey similar to me. And so how do you bring people from their grief, perhaps, or their stuckness into something far more empowering?
Well, like I said, I feel like it's first, that awareness of them really realizing the pain and suffering that they're going through, and becoming more aware of I don't have to live like this.
Absolutely.
I can choose something different. And I think so many people get stuck and they don't understand, that they can make choices. And we get into that day-to-day grind of life, and especially I think in nursing and the caregiving specialties, I think that it's like you're just so entrenched in your day-to-day chaos, drama, whatever, the chaos of the world. We get sucked into a lot of that, I think. So it's more about, becoming aware of how those things are affecting you in your daily life. And then creating those routines and behaviors that can change those things
There.
and create more balance and joy in your life, because I believe we can create whatever we want to manifest in our lives.
We're choosing, are we not?
Absolutely, every second.
Choosing. Nurses, or if you know a nurse, this nurse was burned out, and she is really giving the way, the path to other nurses and people around the world in order to say, fill yourself up, nourish yourself, don't let yourself get on that last nerve, because you deserve it. And your people, tell us about some of the success stories and how people come back and say wonderful things about how their whole body and persona has been exemplified.
Right. Well, I think I have a few people that actually have even gone back to school, doing different things. I had a retired LVN, and she's actually applied to go back to school and go into the visual arts, and something that she has always loved but has never done it. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh,
and
very.
and I had another. She was a housewife, and she didn't even realize that she wasn't really going after her own dreams. She'd always put her husband and her family and her grandchildren and everybody else first. And then she learned that, wow, I can really create something that I want in my life. And she also became aware of how she was reacting to everybody else. So that really opened her eyes a lot. And she said she had little Post-it notes around it. It's like, pause, don't react, take a second. And so I teach a lot about that too. It's like, in that moment, what can you do?
Right.
You can breathe. Take that deep breath, pause, and then decide how you want to respond, right?
There it is.
So
Take
that's
that
really
interrupt
important.
and then plan your response.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Better for you and the people that you're relating with.
Always. Now, sometimes difficult to do in the heat of the moment, but I think it's a muscle that we can learn and we can
Yes.
practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if we fall into that instant reaction, we can backtrack.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's being able to take, once again, responsibility and say, I'm really sorry I said that. Or, I reacted, abruptly, and be able to kind of have a redo, a reset, Yeah.
So tell the people how they can reach you, because I got to think a lot of people have been similar situation, or if they find themselves in that situation, they want a proven leader and a coach like you. So how can they reach you?
Debra? They can reach me at anchoredheartcoaching.com. Very
So-
simple.
Anchor ourselves
Anchored.
right in Anchored Heart Coaching. And I can't even imagine that a day goes by that you don't think about Kathy. And of course, when you dig in and you dig deep into your soul when you're coaching people, and when you're also continuing to coach yourself, it's lifelong healing, is it not? That you hearken and just ground in that anchor. I just so love the image. I'm just so impressed with it. So congratulations on that. Now, where do you see Anchored Heart Coaching expanding to? Because you are on a great trajectory.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I really want to expand into more group coaching and have larger groups, and maybe eventually even having, like, instead of virtual, like having an actual retreats, that kind of thing
Yes.
for my nurses, because I know how important it is to take that time and really rejuvenate and get that resilience in yourself. And I love nature. I live by the beach. I'm very blessed and humbled that I wake up grateful every day because I have a beautiful have a beautiful home and community that I live in, and I'm just so very grateful for where I'm at in my own life.
And we're going to put that on
Yeah.
and revisit that in our next segment.
Okay.
And we're going to take a quick station break, but don't leave. We'll be right back. Welcome back to We Can Do It Women with my guest, Mugs Haugen, and she is telling us about her Anchored Heart coaching program and how important it is for nurses, of which she's one, to care for themselves. Speak to us about this, Mugs.
Yes. Well, I hold webinars virtually right now, which is really fun to empower other nurses and just give them a place where they can come and learn. So my webinar right now is called Bust Through Burnout
Oh,
by Understanding the Meaning of True Self-Care.
let's just repeat that. True self-care.
Self-care. Yes. Because
Wow.
true self-care is not just about a massage or a bubble bath, right? True self-care to me is about creating the routines and behaviors that can really anchor us
There you
in a life of more balance and joy. But there's
The
certain,
transformation.
Yeah.
You're not just making a change, you are implementing transformation.
absolutely.
Sorry, I just had to
No, that's
I had to
great.
jump on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about you. You have a nurse that like one of her biggest gifts to herself is shutting the door and being with you for an hour on the webinar.
Right.
How rich is that?
Yes. Yeah. I think time is just you feel so much pressure of the time and the time that you have. And sometimes taking that time for yourself can be a little bit difficult for nurses and caregivers, because it's like, boy, taking an hour of time out of my day for myself is pretty much unheard of. Right. So I think too, though, it's like also helping them get resources on, especially the caregivers at home that are taking care of elderly parents or, or a disabled child or whatever. You need to know where to go for your resources. So I can help with that too, direct them to the correct people that can help them, maybe get that adult daycare so that they can go and do some shopping or do what they need to do to help take care of themselves. But
there has to be a plan to give that primary caregiver some relief.
Absolutely, yes.
Else the burnout certainly happens more swiftly.
Yes. Very, very important. But I think, taking that time, for coaching, some people are like, wow, but I think when they see the power in it, like I believe there is so much power in helping others, to become more aware of their own, prioritizing their own health and well-being, which they're not used to doing as a caregiver. But so many people, they take care of others at the risk of their own health.
Right, Ned?
Yeah.
So
it's like they get so burnt out themselves that they lose it physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it may look like for that person, right?
Mm-hmm. And like just hearing this, then I would kind of say like logically, so like nurses, don't do this because then you're not going to be helpful at all. And so it's that kind of preventative planning, if you will, that I would suspect that your coaching is completely covering, in so much as, don't go down that route and then find yourself completely burned out without resources. Let's stay in community, right?
Absolutely.
Let's be absolutely cheerleaders for each other, because we're going to ebb and flow.
Yes.
And so talk to us how your groups do that for each other.
Well, another thing I want to point out, just because when you said that, it made me think, what I'd like to do is I want people to bring their best selves to the bedside. Because I feel like if you're not bringing your best self there, then that also causes the burnout. It's kind of like if you're not showing up and not able to give and be compassionate and be that person that you were maybe earlier in your career. Maybe you've lost some of that empathy that you had before because you've got compassion fatigue, So I think it's so important.
Oh, that's a great.
I know. It's kind of knocked around. That term is, a lot, but it's so true. But I think we have to have the compassion is what actually helps the burnout, not the other way around. It's like you can't have too much compassion, and that's what causes you to burn out. It's actually having the compassion that gives you the joy of doing that job. So
that is a rich nugget. Oh, I'm so grateful that you're sharing that. Your terminology is akin to you, and I'm just hearing it with fresh ears, and it's absolutely empowering. It makes perfect sense. And so people and women being caregiving roles, a lot due to socialization. How do you give them those first steps to think of themselves outside their role? Mm-hmm. You got to take care of yourself, but how do you escape that role prison?
Mm-hmm. Well, I help them create a vision of what it is that they would really like in their lives. So first you have to kind of look at where you are and really understand, like, this is not where I want to be.
There it is.
Yeah. So then what is it that you can do to move you in the direction of a vision of a life you would absolutely love?
And do you have them journal, like, perfect day would be
all kinds of things.
And I'm sure you've got tools up your sleeve that I haven't even dreamt of.
Absolutely. Yes. Amazing. Yes. So I help them kind of create a vision, and, and it includes everything, not just their vocation and career, but it also includes their health and well-being, which is big for me, obviously. And also their time and money freedom and their love and relationships.
Absolutely.
Because I think we have to have a really well-balanced, once again, life that we are successful in all of those domains. Because if you're lacking in one of those domains, then it's going to affect all the others.
It will.
And that's what I really learned in my own health and well-being, like I said, that kind of had my transformation started, but then it rippled out
It
to
does.
everything else. So my relationships, I feel, are better. I feel like, my job has gotten better, obviously. And, you know, and my health and well-being is so on such a different par than it was, when I was totally burnt out and stressed. So yeah.
Completely. So it just pays extra dividends.
Yes.
You might want to drop some pounds, and then a person comes and say, how did you do it, first of all, and how did you keep it off?
Right.
And so it starts there, and then it dominoes on to other areas. And so
Absolutely.
it's like that, giving these women the courage to take that first step, because there's a whole bunch of blessings beyond that, which is going to follow even the first step. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So take us into the future. How do you see this expanding? Because I see it having great legs and serving millions of people around the world, nursing, caregiving, whomever needs to attune themselves to their own self-care, so that they have it for the long haul. They have the veracity and the life and the juice.
Right. Well, for me, I think I really want to get up and speak to the nurses, live, and I do everything mostly virtual now, but I'd like to go out and talk to nursing groups, nurse leaders. So if you're a nurse leader and you know anybody, yes, I think that's really important too, is to bring that to the nurses, for corporations and hospitals and communities, to bring someone like myself into their nurses. So it fits into, their time, maybe even while they're on the clock.
Absolutely.
And have them, attend something where they can really gain and make them feel like they're worthy, like that you care about them, that you care about their lives in general, not just about what they do in the hospital or wherever clinic or wherever they may be working.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important. So I think speaking to other nurses and really just letting them know that they do have a choice and that they can empower themselves and really move forward into creating something really special in their lives.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And hospital administrators, you can give a great perk to your nurses, perk them up. It's going to perk everyone up, probably help your financials along the way. So tell them how they can get in touch with you.
AnchoredHeartCoaching.com.
AnchoredHeartCoaching.com. Do your nurses a favor, friends and family, and get in touch with Mugs, because she is going to up-level their health, well-being, and future.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mugs.
Thank you, Debra. Pleasure.